Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to talk about this specific tank, or not necessarily this tank I should say, but some alternatives that we could get into World of Tank Blitz, because oh boy, do we all know that the SturmTiger is a wet dream for most of the WOTB and World of Tank Blitz player, because we would love to be able to write something like that in the game. It's been announced by Wargaming a long time ago that they were not even thinking about adding such a tank in the game, except maybe in some special events like it's the case in World of Tank PC. But beside that tank, let's say that there are some alternatives, especially one that could be interesting from Wargaming perspective to implement into the game. Let's take a look at what I would like us to get into World of Tank Blitz as a replacement for the SturmTiger. To understand what the alternative to the SturmTiger could be, we gotta switch to War Thunder and another tank game, and here you have in front of you the Broombar. It's a premium tank in War Thunder, and it could be as well in Blitz, because I don't think that we have enough tanks to make a whole tech tree from the SturmTiger line, even if would be interesting in my opinion to see that, but kind of cancerous because Wargaming already announced for the Type 5 Heavy that they wanted to implement in World of Tank Blitz, or at least that the player wanted to add in World of Tank Blitz, that it was impossible for them to add it due to its specific gun and armor that were not fitting, definitely not fitting World of Tank Blitz. So I guess it would be the same with the SturmTiger, but not necessarily the Broombar, because that thing could be in World of Tank Blitz an alternative to the SU-152, a premium SU-152 implemented in the German tech tree. When you take a look at it, and I'm going to show you briefly armor, etc., you will see that the armor is quite similar to the one you have on the SU-152, which equals to known, because when you take a look at the effective thickness, you only have 130mm to the most armored part, and for the rest of the tank you are literally paper featuring 20mm. Obviously, the two games, World of Tank and War Thunder, are not the same, which means that if that tank was to be implemented in World of Tank Blitz, maybe Wargaming will change one or two statistics. But for the rest, it would be extremely interesting to see it. That's what the tank looks like under an X-ray, guys, as well. As you can see, the ammos are located on both sides of the tank. You have the engine power, etc., etc. But the most important thing to understand about that tank, and I'm going to show it right now to you, you can see the statistics here, it's the gun. It's a 150mm one, which is quite similar to the one we have on the SU-152. So here it wouldn't be the type of gun that would completely wreck the matchmaking or make other tanks lame compared to this one, because here it would just act like a traditional SU-152. So I don't really know why Wargaming did not implement it, but let's take a look at what this tank would look like in battle. How to balance such a tank in the game. Before answering that question, I want to give a shout out to the guy I'm using the video from, because I suck so much at War Thunder that I would not be able to do anything with it. So shout out to Warfare Gaming, go subscribe to him, even if I think he's way more known than me, because he has 431,000 subscribers. But hey, it's important to give shout outs when you're using the video from someone else. So mate, if you come by, thank you for your support to my channel by allowing me to use your replay. Now, for the rest, guys, how would such a tank being implemented in World of Tank Blitz? First, let's talk about the gun. Nothing too fancy. When you take a look at the SU-152, that has quite a similar gun, because instead of having 152mm here, you have a 150mm one. It would be the exact same alpha damage, 640, obviously followed by a long reload time, something like 30.5, maybe 14 seconds of reload. On top of that, a bad gun dispersion, but still, in my opinion, a better one than the one you have on the SU-152, because after all, the Germans, especially during World War II, are known for their capacity to produce really good tanks. And therefore, I think it would just be normal for the German version of the SU-152 to have a better gun dispersion. But I'm not talking about a laser gun or anything like that. It would still be a bad gun dispersion, but better than the one you have on the SU-152. Maybe in order for it to make it balance, put a little bit more reload time on that tank than the SU-152, but a better gun dispersion, something like that would work perfectly in my opinion. Now, don't look at this replay thinking, whoa, that tank is broken, or that tank is gonna work like this in World of Tank Blitz. No, War Thunder and World of Tank Blitz have two different, totally different mechanisms, which means that you can't really compare them. I just wanted to add a replay on top of that to make it a little bit interesting to follow what I'm saying. But there is a downside, and there is something that will probably block Wargaming from implementing such a tank in World of Tank Blitz. That thing being the 5.5 update. If you remember correctly, for those of you OGs that played before the 5.5 update, when this update dropped, Wargaming decided all of a sudden to remove all the dub guns from tier 1 to tier 6 because they wanted to make the grind easier for new players. And to do that, they removed all the dub guns or all the tanks that could one-shot you or things like that. It's totally understandable because from Wargaming's perspective, it's better to do that to keep your players playing with you, etc, etc, to play on your game. But after, when it comes to tier 7 to tier 10, they are reducing the number of derp guns we can find, because if you take a look at any Tech 3 tanks, beside maybe the Smasher, the SU-152 and the ISU-152, the RHM, these kind of tanks, we don't have that much derp guns, because Wargaming wants to prevent them from being implemented into the game to make it easier for everyone. And I think it's kind of a shame, because derp guns are, for most of them, really fun, and I feel like it's important for Wargaming to give it a try to those tanks, even if it can be frustrating for a lot of players when you are getting one shot or taking a 640 alpha damage shot. I totally understand that. Let's give them a try, man. Let's give them a try. The Smasher is an awesome tank. Yes, it's broken, so it's not necessarily the kind of tank you want to implement again on another Smasher in the game. But I don't feel like if Wargaming intended to implement the broom bar like you see it right now, it would make the matchmaking totally different or break anything in the game. It will not happen because when you see this tank, it doesn't feel broken. Your gun arc is limited, you don't have any armor, you will have a bad gun dispersion. It would just be good from time to time to have some fun with your friend, the same way the SU-152 works. And it would be a pretty good alternative to the SU-152 instead of having to enrich the SU-152 to have your derp gun at your premium derp gun at tier 7, you will be able to get yourself a broom bar and therefore have a real premium implemented in your garage that you could use again and again. So hopefully this tank will make it sooner or later in World of Tank Blitz. I know it's definitely not planned for the moment, maybe it's only a wet dream for most of the players, but maybe we're going to be able to see it being implemented in the game, who knows. Hopefully you enjoyed, guys. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like and share, and tell me in the comments, would you like to see such a tank being implemented, and if yes, would you like it to be a Tech 3 tank, because it actually could be. Let's imagine you start from the RHM Bolsig or the Ferdinand, and after you switch to Broombar at tier 9 and the SturmTiger at tier 10. Would you like something like that or not? I would be interested to know your opinion on this, guys, because derp guns is a sensitive subject for most of the people, and I guess it's something that is important to keep the game alive. See ya.